It's not my fault you didn't pick up anything. Hey everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Superfan.
And the little guy's hanging out with us here. He's got his travel clothes on.
Because we went on an adventure.
Yes, right. That's right. When we go out, he likes to put on his street clothes. We got these for him when we went to Rome.
Because he asked for it.
Yeah, he asked for it. I've been working on the video for our trip to Rome. Hopefully I'll have that up soon. But we did post a video where just talked about buying records in Rome. If you want to check that one out, it's already out there. But today we have a really big vintage vinyl haul to show you. And on Friday, you sent me a text and you said you had found an estate sale in the neighborhood.
Yes, I did.
It's going to have a lot. It said, it looks like they have a lot of records. And I took a look at the photos and I could tell this was a collector. This was a person who had Mobile Fidelity stuff, none of which I picked up because it was really expensive. He had a lot there. He had a couple boxes that were priced as marked. That's where the expensive stuff was. And then he had even more boxes that were just simply $4 each or 3 for $10.
Yeah.
Is how he did it, which was really good because this is all old vintage stuff. And I guess what set this particular dealer apart was the fact that he cleaned everything. He cleaned all the records. So sometimes, the covers may not be in the best of shape, but the records themselves were really nice. And I felt confident buying from him that I didn't have to pull every record out and inspect it.
Yeah, we did very few.
Yeah, very little of that. But now, as we're filming this, we've actually had these home for a few days. I have listened to some of these already, and I'll talk about that as I get to them here.
Yeah.
You picked up some stuff too, and we're going to talk about your stuff first because you didn't pick up as much as I did.
And mine's more important.
That's right. Yes, that's why we do yours first because it's more important. Anyways, though, so first, actually, the first thing you got was not a record, really.
No.
This is a tour program book, U2, The Unforgettable Fire.
I actually have it, but it was in such nice shape.
Great shape. Let's just kind of show a little bit of this here. Official tour program book. I mean, this is 80s, basically. And it looks brand new. But here's the amazing part. He pretty much gave it to you.
Yeah, he did.
He gave it to you. I mean, you bought a couple records, and he said, you can have the program book. You had it there in your hand. He just let you have it. I'm guessing it's because he thought you were really cute, maybe?
I think because we were buying the big stack.
Yeah, we were. Okay. Anyways, though. But yeah, really nice.
I don't think he would have done that since his wife was sitting right there.
Anyhow, the next thing you got, of course, was you picked up this. This is Split Enz. And I've heard this band's name before. I know they're an 80s group.
Crowded House came from...
Oh, okay. Crowded House. Okay.
Yeah, you know them more, I think.
Yeah, well, you're a big Crowded House fan.
Yeah.
That's how I know.
I have the Greatest Hits album.
Uh-huh.
But this was there, and I thought, well...
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, and this was in the, 3 for 10. 80s, vintage 80s album here. You also, of course, picked up a couple Disney albums. You're a big Disney fan. And this is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And this, I don't know how old this is.
60s.
This looks, not all of these do the covers look nice, but this looks really nice. The cover, for the age that it is, this looks really good.
And for the fact that it's a kid's album.
Yeah, kids records, they tend to get a lot of pretty thrashed, or a lot of love, as some people say. But this is all the songs from the original motion picture soundtrack. I'm sometimes with these type of Disney records, you don't get the actual recordings from the movie. You get do-overs, like re-recordings. This looks like it might be the actual songs from the movie, the actual recordings.
And honestly, part of the main reason that I got them was that they were in such nice shape.
Yeah.
The covers.
Yeah.
That with my Disney stuff, I could display them.
Yeah.
And they would just look nice sitting on a shelf.
They do look nice. And yeah, this is another one. Now, this one here says a record and a picture book. Let's see here. I think, is there a little book in here? Let's see, how does it open? Ooh, okay, here we go, yeah. Oh, there is like a book in here, yeah. I'm gonna be very careful with this because it's kind of fragile,
I
but there
haven't
you go.
even looked at that, to be
Yeah,
honest, yet.
very neat. Told and sung by Mary Martin. So here we have, re-recordings, definitely. Yeah, this is really nice shape.
But it kind of shows you the picture book on the back, too.
You're
On the
right,
back
it does.
cover.
Yeah, it does give you what the illustrations will
Can
look
I
like.
see it?
Absolutely.
Is
What's
that-
yours?
Since I
Here you go.
haven't really looked at it yet.
Yeah, there you go. And then this last one that you picked this up, you grabbed it, but you got it, what you said, for me to listen to. And this is Sparks. And this album is entitled Sparks Indiscreet. I think this is maybe their 5th or 6th album, I'm not 100% sure. A while back, we did a video on the Sparks documentary.
We'll link below.
Yes, and the thing about Sparks is that I've since learned that they're kind of a musician's band, yet I had never heard of them, whereas you had. You've
Oh,
known
yeah.
them about them for decades now.
We saw them live at Magic Mountain
Wow.
when I was in high school.
But I saw the documentary about Sparks, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. These sounds really interesting, definitely different. So you grabbed this one and said I should listen, and so there we go, a Sparks album now.
And if you want to share with everybody
Yes.
a hint to our next trip.
Oh, okay, yeah. She's showing me an image from the book here. I'll take this here, and let's see if the page is still there. Okay.
It has
so
magically disappeared.
she pointed to this here and said a hint to our next trip. I'll just leave it at that. But so here we go. Now that's all of Superfan stuff. We're going to talk about what I picked up here. These first two were the expensive ones. These were from the priced as marked box. Won't talk about how much I paid. The first one here,
You got good deals.
I did, yeah. Surfing with the Alien by Joe Satriani. I originally bought this album back, I think this album, I'm trying to remember if it came out in the 80s or
80s.
late 80s or mid 80s. I picked this one up initially on cassette tape, actually. And it didn't have a CD player at that point. I'm sure it was out on CD. Later on, when I got a CD player, I would, of course, get it on CD. Never owned it on vinyl. I was kind of surprised to find out that it had been released on vinyl, that it had, actually. I would have thought that maybe it
yeah.
might have been too late. There's the sleeve there. And, yeah, this, of course, newer releases of this album have had to change the artwork. They basically had to remove the image of the Silver Surfer here. This is John Byrne, comic book artist John Byrne art of the Silver Surfer, Marvel Comics. There's the hand of Galactus. If you're a Marvel Comics fan, you know all this, of course. If you're not, you just don't know, I guess. But I guess he didn't get permission from Marvel to do this when it was first released. I think it went unnoticed for a while.
I think it's more fair to say if you're a fan of the Silver Surfer.
Well, that's a big part of Marvel Comics.
Well, they haven't done movies yet. And
Well,
there are
yeah, but
people-
I'm talking the comics, not the movies. Well, they did do the Silver Surfer in that one of those Fantastic Four movies that nobody liked. There were the two 20th Century Fox Fantastic Four movies, which are now on Disney Plus. But
Yeah,
the second
but they
one
weren't Disney
had the Silver
movies,
Surfer in
and-
it. Had the Surfer. So
Okay.
they've done him in a movie. But I'm saying if you're not a fan of comics, you probably wouldn't have noticed this, especially back in the 80s. You wouldn't have known anything about what this was. But
May I see that one?
yeah, of course, yeah. But that's John Byrne art. But they've had to change that, and they basically had. I saw one reissue of it where they just took out the Silver Surfer. They kept the rest of the artwork, but they took out the Silver Surfer. I guess that's
87.
because they didn't have permission.
This came out in 87.
87. Thank you
You're welcome.
for checking that out. I appreciate it. And now here, of course, this is the real prize here. Beggar's Banquet. We have a vintage 60s copy. And he had it actually packaged this way where you could see the record. And the record looked absolutely immaculate. I've listened to this one, and it plays immaculately. The cover may not be in the most, perfect condition. It's not in horrible condition. You can definitely see some wear and tear on it.
Well,
But at the end of the day,
Given the age.
yeah, given the age, yeah. But when you look at there's the original sleeve. Look at that. London Records Group. There we go.
That may also be a hint to our next trip.
Yeah, that might be a hint. And here's, of course, that original gatefold. But yeah, but the record itself in fantastic shape. I played it, and I was absolutely floored with how good it sounded. Absolutely floored. Now, if you watched my Record Store Day video, you know that I picked this up for Record Store Day. And this would have been about a week or so ago. The thing was, at the time, I had no idea that I was going to go to this sale. And I didn't own Beggar's Banquet on LP. And I'd been meaning to get it. I was thinking at some point I'll get it. And finally I did. I thought, okay, when I saw this on sale for Record Store Day, I thought, okay, I'll get this. You know, this will be my copy of Beggar's Banquet. And then, of course, a week later, I get the chance to get this. And this is the original censored cover, of course, in case you're wondering or don't know about that. This is the uncensored cover that would come later. But, yeah, I was like, there was no way I was going to pass this up. And I'm going to look forward to comparing and contrasting these two. And I'll look forward to actually seeing how the two compare against each other sound-wise. So hopefully that'll be a video soon. Next, we have two albums by Chicago, one of which I've already heard. And we have here Chicago 3, another double album. The first two albums I already have. I have had them on CD. I've recently gotten a hold of both of them on vinyl, both vintage copies. Now I have Chicago 3, vintage copy. Haven't heard this one yet. Also, I've never heard the album in its entirety, whereas the first two I already knew before I ever picked them up on vinyl. I do want to start listening to more of Chicago's catalog during their classic 70s era and listen to more of those. He had this one too, so I figured I'll pick it up too. And this is the one I actually have listened to so far. It sounded great, again. And this is Chicago 8. Comes a bit later in the catalog there. Sounds fantastic. After that, this is one of the most underrated concept albums I've ever heard. A Passion Play by Jethro Tull. This came out after Thick as a Brick. I've always thought this one was better, to be honest, than Thick as a Brick. I know some people will be shocked to hear that. I have this on CD. I have the Steven Wilson remix on LP. And I wanted to get the original mix on LP and a nice copy, because I had bought one previously, but the copy was so terrible that it just wasn't acceptable to me, and I got rid of it. Has the original, the little booklet here inside. And so yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna have a lot better luck with this one based on what I've heard already, and just, you know, how good this particular seller has taken care of the records. The other one I've listened to, and the first one I actually played before any of them, was this one, Billy Joel, The Stranger. I have, I've owned both of these on CD, and I have 52nd Street, which followed this album on LP as well. And I had actually previously picked up a copy of this at a different store a while back, and it looked fine when I looked at it. When I took it home, it just had snap and crackle everywhere. It was unacceptable. So I just got rid of it. This one here sounded crystal clear, beautiful, wonderful. Maybe a little bit of snap when I first put the needle down, but then that's it. Yeah, it makes me really think that I really do need to get an ultrasonic cleaner for these vintage records. And
Common Guru, if you're listening.
anyways, though, next we have the Yes album. I own this one on CD. Never owned it on vinyl, but I have it on CD. Again, I have a number of the classic Yes albums. I don't have everything. And again, this is one I've listened to in the past, but again, I really do want to fill in some gaps when it comes to Yes. This doesn't do it, but I do want to hear it on vinyl.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And after that, this is another one that I've already heard. This is, everyone knows this is Nowhere, Neil Young. I have the entire classic 70s period on CD. I want to slowly get vinyl copies. Harvest I've got from the 50th anniversary box set. I picked up a vintage copy of After the Gold Rush and just got this one too. I did listen to this one, and again, wow, crystal clear. You know, maybe a little snap when you first put the needle down, and that's about it. So yeah, really nice. And this one here, cover's in pretty good shape, I think, given its age and everything. Again, it's the vinyl inside that really like is the whole jewel of all of this. Then we have Stevie Wonder, and Fulfilling This First Finale. This is, of course, from his classic 70s period. This is the album that actually has the original version of They Won't Go When I Go, which, if you've never heard George Michael, excuse me, his album Listen Without Prejudice, he has an absolutely stunning version of that song. I'm not opening up everything, but I will open up some things here. But yeah, vintage, classic period Stevie Wonder, you can't go wrong. Now we have a record that back in the 70s, everybody and their mother had. I think your mother had this album too. And that is Frampton Comes Alive. Yeah. Talk about a record that got played to death on radio. So many tracks off this album. But hey, it was a good album. And I never owned it, believe it or not. I went through the 70s without ever owning a copy, yet I knew many of the songs off of it, of course. It was these live versions ended up replacing his studio versions for a lot of these, you know. Baby, I Love Your Way. You know, a lot of these, yeah, people knew this version versus his original studio versions. But yeah, this album was everywhere in the 70s. This pretty much made Peter Frampton a household name. And it was the biggest success of his career. He went on to do a lot of great stuff afterwards. And Robert and I, over the years, have covered some of it. But it just didn't get the attention, the radio attention like this one did.
I saw him with David Bowie when he played guitar for the David Bowie tour.
Yep. In fact, we both saw him on stage at the Gibson. We went to the NAMM show, and the Gibson
invited us to their party.
They had a special party concert. He was there. Peter Frampton was there performing, and so were a lot of other people like Billy Gibbons. Yeah.
And Nancy Wilson.
Yeah, quite a number of big names at that one. Frampton Comes Alive. And now we have Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones. Now, a while back, not too long ago actually, I did a video where I talked about the small handful of Rolling Stones albums that I still haven't heard yet. The Rolling Stones have a huge catalog when it comes to albums. It's quite an undertaking. And over the years, I've listened to everything except for a small handful. Until recently, this was one of them that I hadn't heard. And I finally heard it when they released the Deluxe 2 CD edition. They did some larger sets too, and they did an LP version. I just picked up the Deluxe 2 CD edition. And I was really impressed with this album. I was impressed with how good it was, especially since it was primarily comprised of previous studio outtakes. I was surprised at how cohesive it sounded. And just
Are you saying they might have a future in the industry?
Yes, they might have a future. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, this is 80s vinyl. Looking forward to hearing it. I liked the CD remastering that came out, although a lot of people said it was overly compressed. It was too loud. I believe it was probably heavily compressed, yet for some reason I still liked it. I thought it sounded really good. Normally I don't like that. But so I'll be interested in comparing it to this and see how I feel about it. And now we're getting down to, I think, we got just two more left here. Boston, their second album, Don't Look Back. A while back, I did finally get a copy of the the first album, vintage vinyl. I did do a CD versus vinyl where I compared the most recent CD mastering of the first Boston album against a modern day pressing against a vintage pressing. And the vintage pressing and the CD remastering were pretty much neck and neck, with the CD just being slightly brighter. Not that it made that much difference. That was the verdict on that one. So yeah, I'll be wanting to compare this to the CD version that I have. And this brings us to the last one here. An album that I've certainly have known about, but one that I have never heard in its entirety. Alice Cooper, School's Out. And I'll pull this one out for a bit here. We've got the original old school Warner Brothers logo here. And this cover, I'll open it a little bit, but this is very fragile here. But this is like it was like a desk that opened up. There are some foldouts here, but I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to leave it be.
It looks like they may have done in the past.
What?
The foldouts on that.
Oh, yeah, somebody has, yeah, because you can tell by the wear. But somebody did do the foldouts with this because you set it up like a desk. Of course, the original album came, the original pressing came with some panties as well.
You didn't get those?
No, I didn't get the panties, unfortunately. I was really upset about that. I really wanted the panties. But yeah, the original release did come with a pair of panties. When they re-released,
I might have a pair I can give you.
Yeah, okay. When they re-released the
I don't know if they'll fit.
well, we'll see. When they re-released an anniversary edition of this on vinyl, they included the panties. I think they were pink. But yeah, I saw this and thought, okay, cool. I've been hearing a lot about this album lately. It's probably because of the anniversary release. But my desire to hear the album in its entirety has grown. In fact, by and large, the only Alice Cooper album that I have ever really owned until this has been Welcome to My Nightmare. And that's it. Which I have, first became acquainted with in the 70s. I don't know why I didn't listen to more Alice Cooper. I loved that album. But I had a high school friend who was big into Alice Cooper, had all his albums. Those things just happen. But there it is. A really big vintage vinyl haul. Most of these were in that 4 for $10, which, makes them less than $4 a piece.
Can't go wrong.
No, especially, like I said, the fact that when he told me, no, I clean all these records, and if they have skips or pops, they go in my dollar bin. And so, yeah. But there it is, vintage vinyl haul. I'm going to put these all away now. And it's gonna take a while to process all of these, to hear everything. I'm gonna digitize each and every one of these. The ones that I've heard already, I've already digitized, like this one here. So I can, add it to my mobile library. And yeah, hopefully I might get to do some interesting CD versus vinyl comparisons with these now that I picked these up. We'll see what happens. And that's about it. Thanks so much for hanging out. It means a lot that you take some time out of your day just to, spend some time with us here. As always, if you like these videos, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. I want to say thank you to the patron supporters out there.
You are fierce and mighty.
Patron supporters do get exclusive weekly videos not available here on the channel. If you want to be a patron supporter, go to patreon.com/TJR the original. If you can't, that's okay, I understand. Just click like and share these videos with anyone you think might be interested. And so, yeah, a lot here. I think it's going to be a while before I do any more vintage vinyl shopping.
Unless I find another sale like that. Those are few and far between.
They are, yeah. These kind of big sales, they are very few and far between. So yeah, by that time, hopefully I will have absorbed all of these, listened to them all, and maybe I'll do a few CD versus vinyl videos based on them.
Yeah.
And
I think we've had a couple in the past year where we got deals like this.
yeah. Typically in the past, they've been more the garage sales where they're just like in bad shape and they're a quarter. And so I just pick them up to see what'll happen. Sometimes I get really good results out of those. You never know. But there we go. That's the haul. Hope you enjoyed it. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. And we hope you all stay safe and healthy. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.